Here is a World War I khaki officer's uniform of the Signal Corps. He was a colonel and was in World War I, actually. There's the overseas stripes on the left sleeve. And of course, at that time, the Army Air Corps early on was part of the Signal Corps, but this has nothing to do with the Air Service. It's just regular Army. The 74 flags are right here. These flags here, that's what these are here. And there's the red on white and white on red. This is the typical World War II ice jacket. This gentleman was 82nd Airborne Infantry. He made all 3 jumps in Europe. He has have his other cord. You can only wear 2 at a time, but I do have his other cord. And of course, they have the ruptured duck for his discharge from World War II. All right, this is a typical basic, the gray green uniform of the United States Marine Corps. And you can see he has the discharge thing, which is unusual to find those on. Okay, this is a typical World War II blouse, enlisted blouse, of a gentleman who was in the 33rd Division in the Pacific. He was a sergeant, and he had 2.5 years overseas. He was infantry. And as you can see, he has the discharge, the ruptured duct for discharge. And usually the combat infantry bed is usually up here, but this gentleman wore it on his pocket. So however they wear it, that's the way I display it. This here is a typical khaki, what they call the Panama khaki uniform of a U.S. chaplain who served in World War II and Korea. He has the Soldier's Medal, the Bronze Star, which is, don't know why, and then you have the American Theater, Asiatic Pacific, and the Victory, and the occupation. Then he has the Korean service and the United Nations for Korea, but he has 2 battle stars on the Korea, which means he was involved in 2 battles in Korea, which is kind of unusual for a chaplain, you know, to be absolutely right up there, but he was. All right, this is a typical blue Air Force uniform. In the right after the Vietnam period, this fellow here was originally a Marine pilot who flew 4 combat missions in Vietnam. And when he came home and got out, he still wanted to fly, but there was no Marine Corps bases close enough for him to fly, so he had to join the Air Force Reserve so he could fly, and which he wasn't too happy about, being a Marine. But he's on this uniform as a typical Air Force pilot's thing that he qualified for, and he also entitled to wear the Navy Marine Corps pilot's wings. All right, now this is the typical late war Vietnam combat jacket. The guy, I don't know who the fellow was, he's taken the name tags off, but he was 101st Airborne, was also a jungle expert, which is what this here is. You can't see the patch, but it was a jungle expert. And he was a staff sergeant, and you can see where he has removed the U.S. Army, his name tag, and which was probably his jump wings, you know, which would have been in subdued material. All right, now this is the typical early, the Persian Gulf, the first Persian Gulf War, is what they call the chocolate chip camo. And when you see the guy also took his name off of it. But that's a typical thing the guys wore when we first went into the Gulf. And he was first Cavalry. Right, this is a typical Marine enlisted dress blues in the 60s, 70s period. That's where when this fellow served. He was a master sergeant. He served in Vietnam. That's what these are all. That's the defense in the Vietnamese service with the 3 stars, and this is the one that the Vietnamese issued with the Battle Star on that. And of course, that's a Marine Corps Good Conduct, got the Army Navy Medal, and I forget what that one is. Well, this gentleman here. He was in the first Gulf War. He was in the service like 20. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He was in like 24 years. He has 2 more hash marks to go on his sleeve. That's a typical beret they wear today. You can see the same thing here and the same thing there. It's a typical shield they wear, and everybody wears it in the Army. And you can wear either DIs, you can wear your rank up there. It depends upon if you're an officer. The officers always wear their rank. All right, this here is a typical, this is an Air Force camis. It's what they call the coffee stain. It's for the, used them in the Iraqi war. It replaced the chocolate chip. And of course, the man's got his name on it, thank God, and he's got one of his, he was a sergeant at that time. All right, that is a typical, what they call the BDUs, which has been replaced by these ACUs. They no longer use that uniform anymore. And this, the fellow, this is Sergeant Major Sloan, right here in Fort Thomas. This is what they call the, it's a night desert camouflage uniform. Because of all the little digital patterning, the color of it, it blends in, I guess, with the nighttime desert.